Today I have for you 3 easy bow tutorials. Here's some of the supplies that you might need. You're not going to need all of the things I have out, but here's just some items that make it a lot easier for you when you're tying a bow. So I hope you enjoy these 3 easy bow tutorials. In this tutorial, I go step by step, so this video is perfect for someone who is just starting out learning how to tie bows, or if you're just needing a little practice or help tying bows. So there's 3 different styles and 3 different ways of bows I'm going to show you in this video. First, we're going to start out with one that is perfect for wreaths and garlands and door swags, and I'm using 1.5 inch width ribbon with wire. So first I'm just letting out about a 10-inch tail, going to make a loop, pinch it in my hand, hold it in my left hand. Now if you were to stretch that loop out, if you like to measure it, it measures 10 inches. When I fold it back, I have a 5-inch loop. So now I've got a loop on the left and the right, checking to make sure the loops are the same size. Now notice how my ribbon's turned. I'm not fighting against it. I just made a loop, placed it on top on my left side. Now look how the pattern is, see it? And now I'm just making a loop on the right side. Notice how I'm not fighting, I'm not twisting. And now I have 2 loops on the left, 2 loops on the right, keeping it pinched in the center. Now you can hold it with your left hand or your right hand, whichever you're most comfortable with. Now I'm letting out the ribbon, making another loop on the right, checking to make sure they're all the same size loops, placing it on the top. Notice how it's turned, so I'm kind of going from the underneath and making my loop and placing it on the bottom in my left hand. Just see how its ribbon is coming out, and then I'm making a loop on the left, placing it on top. Now the bottom one is going to go underneath. Now here's a little tip too. If you do not want to make it the exact way I'm making it here, you can always, if your ribbon gets turned on the wrong side, you can do a half turn to get your ribbon, or a half twist to get your ribbon turned to the pretty side showing again. For this bow, I wanted it to be nice and full and fluffy, and so I made 10 loops total, 5 on the left, 5 on the right. And this Christmas 1.5 inch ribbon is very popular. And this ribbon did come from Sam's Club this year. So I let out a tail. Now I'm going to take a 4-inch zip tie and wrap it nice and tight around the center of my bow. Now you could use a pipe cleaner or floral wire. That's what I wanted to make sure you had options in the beginning and showed you, but I like to use zip ties. And then I'll take a piece of floral wire and thread it underneath the zip tie to attach it to whatever craft project I'm working on. And I'm just cutting the tails at a slant or an angle. Now here comes the fun part. I like to take my hand, stick my hand in each loop, and open up each loop and fluff and shape my bow. Now this part takes a little bit of time, so just be patient. Make sure you fluff your loops, and you'll want to use ribbon with wire because the loops will just stand up. The bow holds its shape better, and it's just easier to work with. And good quality ribbon does make a difference. The ribbon that I did that's 2.5 inch, it's not hardly as good a quality as I would have liked, but Sam's Club has a really great deal on ribbon. If you have not ever bought ribbon at Sam's Club, it's like less than $8 for 50 yards. So I'm fluffing and shaping my bow, and so right here I just did not pull a loop to the center. So I don't know which way you like it better. You'll have to let me know if you like it shaped just like this. I think this is perfect to put on a Christmas gift too, if you're doing a lot of gift wrapping or a birthday present or a mailbox or a lantern. So all kinds of options for this style bow. But I also wanted to show you how you can take a loop and you can pull a loop to the center and fluff the loops a little more, and it really changes the shape of the bow. Just remember, take your time and be patient, and practice makes perfect, and try to get your loops the same size each time. Now here I'm taking and pulling a loop to the center of my bow, and then I'm just going to open up my loops a little bit more. So I'm just sticking my hand in each loop and just fluffing it a little bit more so it's a fuller, little bit smaller bow when you do it this way. If you're enjoying this video, please hit the thumbs up button, leave me a comment, share this tutorial with someone who might need a little bit of help tying bows. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I would love to have you as a subscriber. It is free to subscribe. I share lots of budget-friendly DIYs, shop with me videos, shopping hauls, and decorating videos. So here I've got the center loop, and so it's shaped really pretty, and like I said, these would be perfect on the end of a garland, on a lantern, on a wreath, a door swag. So many options for this style of bow, and it's really easy to make. Just try to make your loops the same size each time. I did a total of 10 loops for this bow. You can make it bigger or smaller. Now here's the second bow tutorial. My daughter took this ribbon, and it's 1.5 inch width ribbon with wire, also from Sam's Club, and she cut 15 strips at 30 inches. First, you're going to take a strip, put the pretty side down, face down, fold it back to 16 inches, move your finger back just about an inch, pinch it together, and you have your first loop. Take your second strip of ribbon, place the pretty side face down, take your strip of ribbon, fold it back to the 16-inch mark, pinch it together, leaving a little bit of ribbon below your fingers so that your loops do not pull out. And just hold it in your left hand or your right hand, whichever hand you're more comfortable with. Same steps with all 15 strips. So measure back to the 16-inch mark, move up just about an inch, pinch it together, place it in your hand. And you could use different colors of ribbon if you wanted to, instead of doing 15 strips of the hot pink. It's up to you, lots of options. And this is a very simple bow to make, and you can also make your tails really long, or you can make them short. Now this style bow is perfect for the top of your Christmas tree. You can make long streamers if you want, or you can cut streamers at the end and add, which I'll be doing a huge Christmas tree bow topper tutorial real soon. But here I'm just going ahead and doing all 15 strips, making loops, and now I'm going to take a 6 or 8 inch zip tie, go right above my hand, and zip tie all my loops together. Make sure you get your zip tie nice and tight, and then I am going to take a piece of 20 gauge floral wire and thread it underneath my zip tie. And I got my zip tie a little tight, and it was hard for me to get the wire to thread underneath the zip tie, but just be patient and take your time. And this is just 20 gauge floral wire, and this makes it so easy to attach your bow to your wreath or the top of your Christmas tree. So you could add your wire before you zip tie it together, or a pipe cleaner, whichever way you want, but it seems like I always end up adding my wire after I zip tie it together because I don't want to lose what I'm holding. And so here I'm giving the wire a twist, and now we're going to fluff and shape our beautiful loopy bow. You could dovetail the ends if you prefer, or you could just cut them at a slant. For this bow, I am just cutting mine at a slant. Just make sure you do all of your strips. Now I'm going to hold on to my wires and just kind of fan out my tails, and I'm going to take my hand and put my hand in each loop and open up my loops and shape my bow. So remember, we started with 15 strips, so this is going to be a nice full bow, and you could do more or less. It's up to you. I'm just giving you some ideas. And you could also use 2.5 inch width ribbon if you wanted to, if you want a bigger, fuller bow. And I have lots of bow tutorials on my YouTube channel. I even have a bow tutorial playlist. I just love the way this bow looks, and then I like the long tails streaming down, and this would be perfect like for homecoming. If you make the mums, that would be a beautiful bow for one of those. So here's how it looks, all fluffed and shaped. The secret to tying beautiful bows is making your loops the same size each time. Just remember to take your time, be patient. It does take a little while sometimes to get your bow shaped like you want, but just keep practicing. You'll have to let me know in the comments section which bow is your favorite. I really think my favorite is this one. I love the hot pink ribbon with the snowflakes, and that would go into like January and February also. Now this is the 2.5 inch width ribbon with wire from Sam's Club. First we're going to start out by letting out a tail, pinching it together at about 12 inches. Now we're going to make a loop, place the ribbon right on top of the other ribbon in my left hand, and that forms a 5-inch loop. So if you stretch it out and measure, that's 10 inches, and then you fold back to make your 5-inch loop. And then we're just going to the other side, same steps. Pinch it together, add it to the back of your hand, keep holding in the middle, check to make sure your loops are the same size on each side, let out more ribbon, bring it forward because we're going to place this loop, the ribbon on the top on my left hand, and that way my ribbons turn the correct way. Then I had it a little big, so I had to pull it and slide it to make my loop a little bit smaller. Now I'm getting some more ribbon out. Notice how it's turned. Now we're making a loop, placing it at the back of my hand. Now if this does not work for you, you can always twist it a half turn to get your design back on top. So just remember that. Okay, now we're letting out another tail. So just 2 loops on the left, 2 loops on the right. Perfect double bow. Then we're going to take a zip tie and wrap it nice and tight around the center of the bow. Now if you do not have any zip ties, you can always use pipe cleaners or floral wire instead of the zip tie. Or you could also use string if you have string. I used to make this style bow all the time for my daughter when she was little. I made a hair bow to match each of her outfits, and I just did it, of course, with gross grain ribbon, not ribbon with wire. But I love a beautiful big double bow, so I'm dovetailing the ends for this one. So take your tail, fold it in half with the edges to the left side, go to your folded side, cut away from the fold, and that makes the pretty V on the ends. Next, we're going to take the 20 gauge floral wire and thread it underneath the zip tie. And I usually pick up my floral wire in a package for around $1 at Walmart. Sometimes I get my zip ties a little too tight and it takes me a while to thread the wire under it, and then I like to give it a twist. And so now we're ready to fluff and shape our loops. And just be patient. If you're new to tying bows, it's okay. Take your time, just practice. I have lots of fun DIYs planned for Christmas, so if you have not subscribed, I hope you'll hit that subscribe button. And thank you guys that have subscribed and leave the sweetest comments on my videos. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I had to go back and trim one of the tails a little bit shorter because it was just too long, and I like them to be a little bit closer in length. Which bow is your favorite? Is it the first one with the nutcrackers, the second one with the snowflakes, or the third one with the trees? I really like all 3 style bows, but I think my favorite's the one with the snowflakes. I am also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Keeping It Simple Crafts. So I hope you'll drop by and say hi on those accounts too. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it.